DevOps is not really just about technology, it's also about the teams and the people that make up the technology.
Something so different. Something so different.
Hi everyone. So my name's Kelvin. I'm a developer. I work for ThoughtWorks in Johannesburg. That's in South Africa. I'm assuming people know that. So my talk is like an introduction and to find out for me why I'm here and why you guys are here. I can answer why I'm here. I can't answer why you guys are here. And so the core concept is DevOps. And it would be really cool if after I'm done here and I have an understanding, we all have an understanding of what you guys know, like what you understand DevOps to mean. And if you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, please tell me. And if I say something right now at any point, and I've said something you haven't heard before, I wasn't clear, just say stop or ask me a question. It's cool. So DevOps, who knows what it is? Has anyone heard the term DevOps before coming to this conference? Okay. So if I say dev, do you know what that means? What does it mean? A development. Okay. And ops? So what does operations mean? So I think we're talking about software, right? We're talking about writing software and getting it available to our clients and to people who use it. And the two parts of software. Traditionally, there are two parts of it. There's the actual writing the code. How many of you are developers? 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of you? All of you? Cool. Then there's the other part. So you write the code and it works, hopefully. And then what happens to it? How does a user use the code that you wrote? Gets deployed. Cool. So that's where operations starts coming into effect. Usually, or traditionally, the operations people will deploy your software and maintain it so that when they've got, I don't know, they've got problems, there's a client who says, I clicked on the button and nothing happened. It's traditionally not the developer's problem. That operations need to figure it out. And they say, oh, the site's down. Like I sent email, but nothing happened. And you have to find out why that is. And it might be the server went down, the code is buggy, it's not operational. And traditionally, that was the operations role. At least this is my understanding, right? There are people that know more than me in this room that will be able to clarify things. And so if you disagree with what I say, just say it, just stop me. Now, but has anyone ever heard the phrase, it works on my machine? Yeah? So this was my first interaction with software development. I was working with my dad, and that's difficult for a whole other reason, communication. This is really important when working with anyone. Working with your father, it's particularly difficult for my father. And we were writing this CRM, which is probably not something two people should be trying to do. And we had a client, one client, so it's a team of 3 people, 2 developers and the client, and he wants to show it to people. So we deving, making it work, and it works. And then we're like, okay, now we have to give it to somebody to show other people. And then I had to figure out how to do this because I had no idea. And we were using .NET at the time, and there's a technology called Windows Installer XML, WIX. It's really interesting. I'm glad I don't have to do it again. So I put together a package and I made this build and I gave it to our client, and he went and he clicked it and he opened it and it didn't work. And I had no idea why it didn't work, because it was working. I did the same thing he did on my machine and it worked on mine, right? And so this happened a couple of times. We would try and show it to a potential buyer and it didn't work, and he would be like, whatever, fix it. Phone me up at whatever time, and I had to try and figure it out. And that was my foray into operations, of like actually getting software that I've written in front of a user. So I've learned recently, mostly because I was working at ThoughtWorks, what the most important thing about my job is, and For me, that's delivering value. That's delivering something useful that solves a problem and that a client can use. If I spend 2 years writing software that nobody uses, I've wasted 2 years. And that means that the most important person to me is operations. It's the person who does operations, because traditionally, they would make sure that my software got to people who could use it. And my understanding of DevOps is now, it's not okay that there are different people that do these things, different functions, that I could write software and then not know anything about what happens to it. I don't get feedback from my users. I don't find out whether or not I'm writing the right stuff. I don't find out if I'm actually adding value. I mean, if I think that the reason I work is to give clients value, and I don't know if that's happening, then why am I working? The DevOps movement, as I understand it, is bridging this gap between the developer and the operations person. It's how do I take responsibility for the code that I write and making sure that it gets to a user. Making sure that I'm delivering value in every way. Not just writing good, clean code or functional software, but software that can be used, software that is always available. And the approach to that is to start changing culture. So when I talk about tradition, I'm talking about a South African context, and I think it's mirrored internationally, where you have the developers, and then you have the operations staff, and then you have the QA people, and then you have different people doing different things, and they're not really interacting really well. And they have an antagonistic relationship. Does anyone relate to that? Has anyone worked with another group of people that you feel like they're just making your day difficult? They're making your job hard. All I want to do is write my code, and they want me to change it so that, for what? Has anyone had that experience? Customers, yeah. So, customers is an extreme example of that. And it is, in my opinion, awesome to be able to talk to customers. Because then I know exactly who's going to use my software. Then I know exactly what their problem is, and then I know exactly what I need to do to fix it. And I think DevOps, it combines this. It's about communication. It's about me being involved in every part of my software's lifecycle. And then I start to think about specifics about how is this piece of code going to be deployed? Is it going to be on a cloud server? Is it going to be a Windows installer? Is it going to be a Java program of some kind? Is it going to be, I don't know, is it going to be a handheld device? It's like PayPoint. I need to start finding out about these specifics because that's where my user is going to interact with it. And there are ways to learn more about this. There are ways to get more control and get more interactive. And there are many tools that allow this. And these tools focus on things like automation of the process, automating, getting my software deployed to the user, getting my software from a code state to a functional state. And I think DevOps is understanding how to use that tool so that I can deliver value no matter what. And that I don't give it to somebody else, throw it over the wall, and hope that they care enough to get it done right, and not make it my problem. Why I'm here? So there was another guy I worked with, his name's Thibaut. He's Cameroonian, and apparently Kenya doesn't let Cameroonians in without a visa that he has to buy, or what you have to do 3 weeks in advance. Because I'm South African, Kenya reckons I'm less dodgy, so I can come in at will. So I was Tuesday, I was coding on a project we run an agile team. It's really cool. There are different functions. We all do different parts. We work together, collaborate with each other. We speak to our customers regularly. We deploy almost every day. That software that we write gets out to the users almost every day. Although there are not many users, we're still doing them. And I've come to think of that as normal. There isn't this like, I write code and never hear about it, and write some other code and I don't know what it does, never hear about it. Or if I'm involved in the project, it takes 18 months for it to get out. I don't hear that. I know when I've committed my code, when I've done my changes, and I've pushed it through the process, and I've spoken to everyone on the team, that it's going to be used within a few hours. It's going to be seen at least within a few days. And so Tibro comes over and he says, do you want to go to Kenya? I said, yes. I didn't know why. And he told me that it's a DevOps conference. It's like, cool, I can go there. And I don't really know as much as these guys know, but I know it's really important. I know that it's something that I want to be able to do. I want to give the best software to people that I can, and I want to know that it's the best software that I've given to them. I want to know that because they've used it and seen it, and that it's available for them, that it is the best I can do, and if it's not, that I can change it and correct the mistakes. DevOps is a way to do that for me. Yeah. So I'm going to stop there. If you have questions, yeah, ask me now. If you don't have questions right now, ask me later. Cool.
Thanks, Kelvin. So that's Kelvin, our first speaker. You guys are sure you don't have any questions for him? No comment?
Let's do.
Works writes custom software. So we have clients as varied as banks to people who are.
Maybe you could do it up there.
Yeah. Good point. So ThoughtWorks is a development consultancy. We write software. We use the word custom, which means we don't make generic software. We try and find your problem and try and find a solution for it. And often it's software, not always. We're not always giving you a solution that is software based. We may be able to suggest that you just move closer to each other or something like that. But what we really like to do is write the best software we can. And we about technical excellence, innovation, all the good fancy stuff that software people talk about. But we're also about cultural change, like helping people at different levels from one of our projects is validating the authenticity of medication, to working with disadvantaged people in South Africa, like teaching them how to code. We do all sorts of different things. A lot of it we don't get paid to do, and when we do get paid, it's a lot of money because we try to do the best we can. We practice Agile, which is like a development methodology. Who's heard of Agile or does that? Yeah. It's one of the roots of DevOps, I understand. A lot of people who are part of the movement started in the Agile movement, and it's about a culture of collaboration and continuous feedback and trying to get the right software to the right people. And ThoughtWorks is a consultancy, so we come into places, give advice, write some code, and leave. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Get to travel, get to go to Kenya. Yeah?
You mentioned about communication. I believe you have remote stuff. So how do you handle this?
So the question was, that I spoke about communication, and that there are situations where we have remote projects, teams working in different areas, and how do we handle it? With great difficulty. So one of the core principles, one of the things that we like to do is be close to each other. So because communication is so much easier if it's face to face. If I speak to you, I ask you directly, what did you mean by this? Or how does this work? And you tell me, and I fix it. When we're remote, we have to send an email, we have to phone each other. It becomes very difficult. Some of the strategies we've used are video conferencing facilities. So setting up a camera, looking at me while I'm coding, and pairing up with people wherever they are in remote locations, and being interactive like that. The challenges are, specifically in the African context, you don't have regular, reliable internet connections all the time, so that delay in communication is very difficult to bridge. So you have to be methodical, you have to be specific about things, you have to be very good about scheduling, about timing, about what I want to talk to, or what I want to talk about, which points I want to address today. And just trying hard. Yeah. Okay, I can think more about it. Does that answer your question? Yeah?
No other questions?
If you have questions later, find us, find me. Thank you.